Did Agnieszka ever complain about any clients before she disappeared? Or did she ever talk about leaving?
Well, we all talk about leaving. Who wants to live their life like this? But she never complained about anything. Agnieszka was like Apollina. She took on many clients. She left town a lot, but always came back with a broken heart. I hope she did find someone and left this place.
Where can I find this Apollina?
She usually works the park. Rare are the girls who are allowed to enter it. She's very protective of her territory. That's what she calls it anyway. Frantiska and me were allowed in because Apollina knew we didn't take strangers and pretty much had our own regulars. Agnieszka was Apollina's good friend, so she was allowed too. So we all kept each other company in the park. Maybe Apollina knows where Agnieszka is. I don't know.
Well, thank you for answering my questions. It was a pleasure to meet you, even under these unfortunate circumstances.
Well, it was nice to meet you, Mr. McPherson. I thank you for trying to help us.
Trying? I haven't even started yet. If I have any more questions, how may I contact you?
Usually in the park.
Again, thank you. Ida's an angel on Earth. She's the sweetest person I've ever met. I truly believe she doesn't have an angry bone in her body, even with the difficult childhood she had. A stepfather who molested her on a regular basis. Ida is always positive, and she's always willing to help the people who surround her. That's why she hired me to try and help. She has an undying optimism about life in general, and I love her for it. Hey.
How is she?
She's okay, I guess, under the circumstances.
I'll go talk to her after.
Tell me, where can I find Emil Corona?
Who's he?
He's the coroner working the case. I need to ask him a few questions. Skalnik said he worked in an old chapel. Do you know where it is?
Yes, I'll mark it on a map.
I don't need a map. Just tell me where it is.
What is it with men and directions? Take this map, it'll help you. I marked the location of the old chapel. It's not far from here.
Okay. Thanks, sweetheart. How have you been? I mean, are you feeling better?
Yes, a little. It's not as bad as when you left for your case.
Did you go see the doctor?
No.
Ida, go see him. It might be serious. I'm no doctor, but throwing up every day is not normal. Go see him.
Okay, I'll go see him. I don't throw up every day, you know. You always exaggerate.
Yes, okay. But go see him as soon as possible. Okay. I have to see this Corona. I want you to stay off the streets as much as possible. Never walk around alone.
Yes, I know you've told me 100 times. I am careful.
Okay, I'll ease up on you. You be careful.
I will. Now go.
An old lavatory. No one's used it since, well, from the looks of it, I'd say since the Romans.
What are you doing here? Why aren't you at your post?
Well, you told me to.
Never mind. Do you have any news, at least?
Yeah, the American is talking to the girl's boss.
So, he thinks he can move in on my women, huh? Well, my friend, if you ever see him, you may explain things to him.
Explain what?
Use that brute force of yours, you idiot!
Okay, boss.
I truly miss your brother. He was the smart one.
Yeah, I miss him too. Why can't we get him out?
Because I'd probably get arrested too, you moron! That's all Skalnik wants anyways. I have a feeling he will blame me for all these murders. Why am I telling you this? Go back to your post. You see the American? You can rough him up.
Okay, boss.
I'd better steer clear of the big guy. The scrawny-looking guy was probably Ottokar Kubina. Who can forget that name? Anyways, he was the pimp of the neighborhood. He worked out of this little lingerie shop, which acted as a front, of course. He owned a couple of joints in the district, including the cabaret where Ida used to work. I think he never forgave me for stealing Ida from that dive. I better straighten things out with him later. I have other things to do. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. This place had the metallic smell of blood and the stench of rotting flesh. This old chapel had been converted into an autopsy room. Now blood dyed its floor. Hello, Mr. Corona. My name's Gus McPherson. I'm a detective that was hired to help my client... Hello? Sir? Hello?
Huh? What are you doing here? I thought I'd locked the door. Where is my cone? What are you trying to do? Give me a heart attack?
Sorry, Mr. Corona.
Who are you and how do you know my name?
Like I said earlier, I'm Detective McPherson. Inspector Skalnik told me that I could ask you a few questions.
If Skalnik says it's okay, then it's okay.
Can you walk me through your observations of this victim?
Okay. The cause of death is like the others. The cut to the throat.
It can't be the multiple stab wounds or the evisceration itself?
No, I'm pretty sure of that.
What makes you so sure?
The one before her. The one we found in the park. She was killed in the same spot she was found. It was clear that it was the wound to her throat that killed her. The rest was probably done after.
And how did you come to that conclusion?
Because not much blood was coming from the other wounds. The heart was still beating when the throat was cut. I could tell by the amount of blood that had poured from the throat wound.
So you weren't sure about the cause of death until you saw the victim in the park?
Well, I had my doubts, but when I saw her, yes, she made things more clear.
And the same killer would use the same brutal techniques?
Precisely.
Does the victim in the park have any other differences from the rest of the victims?
Yes, the cut to her neck indicates an attack from behind. The rest, including this one, were attacked from the front. If only I had the other body, I could show you the difference.
That's okay. Really, I trust your judgment. You don't have the body, but maybe you have a file on the victim from the park?
Sure. The man who was supposed to come and get the file never showed up.
What man?
Skalnik's errand boy. He comes to get the files I make for each victim. He still hasn't come to get the one from the park.
Ah, I see. Well, I'll take Inspector Skalnik's file if you don't mind.
No, I don't really care.
Where do you keep your files?
In my safe over there. I can never remember my combination, so I wrote it on a piece of paper. I think I lost it somewhere.
What happened to your hearing, if you don't mind my asking?
It happened in the Great War. I was a medical aide. Now we get the wounded from the trenches to the temporary hospital. One day we saw a wounded soldier in no man's land. We rushed to him, and a mortar shell exploded on my partner. I survived, but with hardly any hearing left.
So that's where you got your experience?
Yeah, mostly. Ironically, the war ended 3 weeks after the shell exploded.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I hate this part of my job. Not a pretty sight. Poor doll, she never saw it coming. The cut to her throat is very deep. It was definitely a frontal assault. In every body, there's a puzzle waiting to be solved. These were installed recently. She was the only victim that had been attacked on the spot in the park. Maybe the police had overlooked something. I had to go see for myself. He's been nice so far. I don't want to push his hospitality.